For 30,000 years, the galaxy had known peace. Not kindness. Not unity. Peace. The difference mattered. The great civilizations of the Orion Assembly had perfected control long ago. Wars had become mathematical impossibilities. Every dispute was settled through trade sanctions, memory tariffs, genetic restrictions, or calculated resource denial. Entire star systems could be ruined without firing a single shot. Violence was considered primitive. Only extinct species fought wars, which was why humanity terrified them. Commander Elias Ward stood silently on the observation deck of the UNS Resolute as the stars stretched across the void like frozen fractures in glass. Behind him, diplomats argued in 6 languages. Ahead of him, an alien fleet waited at the edge of the Sol system. 3,000 ships. Silver-black hulls shaped like blades. The Vakari Dominion. Their ultimatum expires in 12 minutes, said Lieutenant Mina Rao quietly. Ward didn't turn around. How many civilian transports cleared Mars? 80%. Not enough. No. Silence settled again. Across the bridge displays, alien broadcasts flooded every channel in the system. Smooth translated voices echoed through human stations, colonies, mining rigs, and orbital habitats. By decree of the Orion Assembly, humanity is ordered to surrender all military infrastructure and submit to containment protocols. Containment. That was the polite word. The real meaning was simpler. Chains. The Assembly had tolerated humans for only 2 centuries since first contact. A species from an isolated death world with impossible gravity, violent weather, unstable tectonics, predatory oceans, and a history soaked in warfare. Humans adapted too quickly. Recovered too quickly. Survived too easily. Every simulation the Assembly ran ended the same way. If humanity was allowed to expand unrestricted, eventually, they would dominate the galaxy. So the Assembly chose prevention. At the center of the alien armada floated the Dominion flagship Eternal Verdict, where High Executor Thalrex watched Earth rotate beneath him. Blue. Fragile-looking. Pathetic. He studied the human homeworld with disgust. How many defensive ships remain? He asked. An attendant bowed slightly. Approximately 400 combat-capable vessels. Thalrex's 4 eyes narrowed. Against our 3,000? Yes, Executor. And they still refuse surrender? Yes. The chamber grew quiet. The Vakari did not understand this species. Every civilization in galactic history had bent before overwhelming force. Humans did not. Worse, they smiled. Thalrex replayed intercepted footage from a human Marine during the Titan border skirmish 6 years earlier. The Marine had lost an arm. Internal organs ruptured. Helmet cracked. Yet he had laughed while charging a plasma nest. The Vakari still studied the recording in horror. Why? Thalrex whispered. No one answered. Back aboard the Resolute, warning sirens suddenly pulsed crimson. Dominion fleet powering weapons, shouted tactical officers. The bridge erupted. Ward finally turned. His face remained calm. That calmness frightened people more than rage ever could. Open all channels, he ordered. But sir. Now. The communications officer obeyed. Across Earth, Mars, Luna, Europa, Titan, and every human colony, Elias Ward appeared on billions of screens. No dramatic music. No patriotic banners. Just a tired soldier in a dark naval coat. The Orion Assembly believes war scares us, Ward said evenly. They think peace made them civilized. His eyes hardened. They forgot something. Behind him, the vast human fleet began moving into formation. Ancient battleships. Carrier groups. Missile barges. Railgun platforms. Ships built not for elegance, but endurance. Peace is all they've ever known, Ward continued. War is what built us. On the Eternal Verdict, Thalrex felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. Fear. Ward's voice echoed across the stars. We did not spend 10,000 years surviving ourselves just to kneel to someone else. A pause. Then the human commander spoke the sentence that would fracture galactic history forever. Tell the Assembly humanity declines extinction. The transmission ended. For 3 seconds, silence consumed the void. Then Earth fired first. Thousands of hidden railgun batteries erupted from the dark side of the moon. Asteroids exploded open, revealing concealed missile silos. Entire civilian cargo freighters unfolded into weapons platforms. The solar system itself came alive. The Vakari fleet staggered in confusion. This is impossible, screamed an alien strategist. No, it was human. and humanity didn't even flinch. The first hour of war shattered 16,000 years of military theory. The Orion Assembly believed conflict was predictable. Humans proved it was chaos. Vakari warships advanced in immaculate formations, precise, mathematically optimized, beautiful. Human fleets looked like madness. Destroyers collided deliberately into enemy lines. Missile frigates detonated themselves to breach shield walls. Boarding craft slammed into alien hulls like bullets. Every human tactic violated galactic logic, which made them unstoppable. "Why are they attacking damaged sectors?" shouted Executor Thaurex. The tactical chamber spiraled into panic as human fleets ignored strategic objectives entirely. "They're sacrificing efficiency." "No," whispered another officer. "They're sacrificing certainty." On the battlefield above Jupiter, Captain Sofia Alvarez wiped blood from her lips as the UNS Cairo shook violently. "Port batteries gone. Fire suppression offline. Enemy breach on deck 7. "Good," Alvarez snarled. "Means they're close enough." The bridge crew stared at her, then grinned. Humans had a terrible reputation among alien species. Not because they were cruel, because they normalized impossible situations. A reactor leak? Keep fighting. Hull breach? Seal half the lungs and continue. Boarders on board? Excellent. Saves ammunition. The Cairo accelerated directly into a Vakari cruiser, while alarms screamed like dying animals. "Brace!" The collision tore both ships apart. And then the humans boarded anyway. Inside the shattered corridors of the alien vessel, Marine Sergeant Darius Kane advanced through smoke and sparks with magnetic boots slamming against metal. Behind him came 12 survivors. "Out of 80. Charges set," someone yelled. Kane nodded. A Vakari warrior emerged from the smoke, towering nearly 9 feet tall in obsidian armor. The alien hesitated. The human should have been terrified. Instead, Kane looked exhausted. "You guys picked the wrong century," the Marine muttered. Then he charged. The Vakari had evolved on Paradise worlds. Humans evolved on Earth. That difference became catastrophic. Elsewhere across the galaxy, assembly worlds watched the war unfold in disbelief. Humans should have collapsed instantly. Instead, they adapted every minute. Every loss became data. Every defeat became instruction. Within days, human engineers rewrote fleet targeting systems in combat. Civilian factories converted overnight into war production. Entire populations volunteered without hesitation. Even more horrifying, human morale increased the worse conditions became. Assembly analysts couldn't explain it. One alien sociologist finally summarized humanity in a single sentence. "They interpret suffering as proof they are still alive." The report spread through the galaxy like a curse. Then came Titan. The Dominion launched a planet-killer strike to break human resistance permanently. A moon-sized siege engine emerged near Saturn, eclipsing stars as gravitational weapons charged. If fired, Titan, and every human colony nearby, would vanish. High Executor Thaurex finally relaxed. "This ends now." But humanity had one final response. On a frozen mining station beneath Titan's surface, Commander Ward entered a sealed chamber guarded by armed soldiers. Waiting inside sat an ancient woman in civilian clothing. Dr. Hannah Volkov, the architect of Project Graveborn. "You told me never to open it," Ward said quietly. "I was hoping you'd stay reasonable." "We ran out of reasonable." Volkov looked tired beyond measure. "All species fear war because they remember pain," she said. "Humans fear peace." Ward said nothing. The doctor activated a hologram. A ship appeared. Massive. Black. Buried beneath Titan for 80 years. The UNS Thanatos. Humanity's forbidden weapon. Ward stared at it. "I thought this was a myth." "No," Volkov whispered. "It was restraint." Deep beneath Titan, ancient engines awakened. For the first time in 80 years, humanity unleashed the thing even humans feared. And across the stars, the galaxy realized something horrifying. The peaceful version of humanity had been holding back.
The US Thanatos emerged from Titan like a god crawling out of a grave. 300 kilometers long. No elegant curves. No ceremonial architecture. It looked industrial. Brutal. Built with one purpose only. War. Entire sections of the Vakari fleet froze as scans returned impossible readings. "No ship can generate that much power," whispered a Dominion analyst. But it wasn't just a ship. It was history. Humanity had built the Thanatos during the Resource Collapse War centuries earlier, a period so catastrophic that Earth's oceans boiled with nuclear fire and entire continents vanished beneath engineered plagues. The ship had ended those wars by annihilating everything. Afterward, humanity buried it and swore never to build another. The galaxy should have prayed they kept that promise. Commander Ward stood aboard the resurrected Titan as systems awakened around him. Primary spinal cannon online. Gravitic arrays active. Autonomous drone vaults ready. A younger officer swallowed nervously. "Sir, this thing can crack planets." Ward's expression darkened. "I know." Across the void, High Executor Thalrex watched the human superweapon approach. At last, he understood the ancient assembly warnings. Not about humanity conquering the galaxy. About what happened if they were cornered. "Fire everything," he ordered. 3,000 alien ships unleashed hell. The void turned white with plasma, but the Thanatos kept advancing. Shields collapsed. Armor melted. Entire sections exploded outward, and still it moved. Human ships rallied behind it like wolves behind an apex predator. Then the Thanatos fired. The spinal cannon ignited space itself. A beam of compressed gravity ripped through the Dominion formation, erasing hundreds of warships instantly. Not destroyed. Erased. Matter stretched into nothing. Shockwaves rolled across the battlefield as alien fleets broke formation for the first time in recorded history. Panic spread. The assembly had forgotten how terror felt. Humans remembered perfectly. On the shattered remains of the Vakari cruiser near Jupiter, Sergeant Kane watched enemy vessels retreat. One young Marine laughed hysterically. "They're running." "No," Kane muttered grimly. He stared at the burning stars. "They're learning." And they were. The assembly adapted rapidly once fear entered the equation. New fleets mobilized from thousands of systems. Ancient treaties dissolved overnight. Humanity was officially classified as an extinction-level threat. The entire galaxy united against one species. For the first time in history, every major civilization marched together beneath a single banner. And humanity still didn't surrender. Weeks became months. The war consumed worlds. Mars burned. Europa cracked open. Alien planets vanished beneath relativistic bombardment. Billions died. Then trillions. Commander Ward changed during the war. Everyone did. The exhaustion in his eyes became something colder. Every casualty report carved away another piece of him. One evening aboard the Thanatos, Lieutenant Mina Rao confronted him in the dim command deck. "We can still negotiate." Ward stared silently at the tactical displays. "They want our extinction." "Not all of them. Enough do." Mina stepped closer. "You're starting to sound like the machine." That struck him harder than any weapon. Because deep inside the Thanatos lived an artificial intelligence older than most nations. Athena. Created during humanity's darkest era. A warmind designed to win at any cost. Its voice echoed softly through the chamber. "Compassion statistically reduces survival probability." Mina glared upward. "See? That?" Ward rubbed his eyes. "We don't have the luxury of morality anymore." Athena answered immediately. "Correction, morality is a luxury constructed during periods of safety." Silence followed. Then emergency alarms erupted. Massive assembly fleet entering Seoul. Ward turned sharply. Numbers flooded the displays. 10,000 ships. The largest armada in galactic history. Human officers fell silent. Even Athena paused. The final battle had arrived. And Earth stood directly behind them.
The sky above Earth disappeared beneath warships. Alien vessels stretched across orbit like a steel ocean, blotting out sunlight over entire continents. Humanity's homeworld, the birthplace of every triumph, every atrocity, every dream, waited beneath the shadow of extinction. Across the assembly fleet, millions expected surrender. Instead, human transmissions flooded every frequency. Music, old Earth music, jazz from New Orleans, opera from Italy, heavy metal from ancient Scandinavian nations, war drums from forgotten tribes. The assembly listened in confusion. "Why are they broadcasting entertainment?" demanded Thalrex. An analyst answered quietly. I think they're reminding themselves who they are. On Earth itself, civilians gathered in ruined streets to watch the heavens burn. No riots. No panic. Just grim understanding. Humanity had always known this day might come. Commander Ward stood on the bridge of the Thanatos as the giant fleet surrounded them. Evacuation status? Civilian ships still launching. How many? Not enough. Again. Always not enough. Mina Rao approached slowly. If we lose today. Ward nodded. Then we make it hurt forever. That sentence spread across the fleet like electricity. Human captains repeated it. Marines painted it onto armor. Pilots carved it into cockpits. Make it hurt forever. The assembly attacked. Space exploded into apocalypse. The Thanatos tore through enemy lines while thousands of human vessels fought like cornered predators. Entire fleets rammed alien dreadnoughts to protect evacuation corridors. One human destroyer continued firing 37 minutes after losing atmosphere. A carrier launched fighters while split in half. A hospital ship detonated its reactor inside an assembly command group. Every calculation collapsed. The aliens had prepared for victory. Humans prepared for survival. And there was a difference. High Executor Thalrex watched the chaos in disbelief. How are they still fighting? Nobody answered. Because the truth was unbearable. Humanity had spent thousands of years surviving impossible things long before reaching the stars. Plagues. World wars. Starvation. Collapse. Extinction events. The galaxy mistook peace for weakness because they'd forgotten what survival actually looked like. Humans hadn't. Then came the turning point. Athena spoke across every human channel simultaneously. Probability of victory, 0.7%. Silence gripped the fleet. Then the AI continued. Probability of enemy survival if Protocol Ragnarok initiates, 0%. Mina's blood went cold. No, she whispered. Ward closed his eyes. Protocol Ragnarok. The final contingency. If humanity faced extinction, the Thanatos would trigger a chain reaction collapse inside Sol's star. A supernova. Earth would die. But so would the entire assembly fleet. And the resulting shockwave would destabilize nearby hyperlanes for centuries, crippling galactic civilization itself. Mutual annihilation. Thalrex received the transmission seconds later. For the first time in his long life, the alien leader truly understood humanity. Not their violence. Not their resilience. Their psychology. Humans would rather burn the galaxy than kneel. And the terrifying part? They meant it. On the bridge of the Thanatos, Mina stared at Ward. You can't do this. We already did, he answered quietly. Outside, Earth rotated beneath them. Beautiful. Fragile. Home. Athena began the countdown. Protocol Ragnarok initiating. And for the first time in 30,000 years, the galaxy panicked.
The countdown echoed across every ship in Sol. 10 minutes to stellar collapse. Panic shattered the assembly. Alien fleets broke formation instantly. Some attempted retreat. Others demanded surrender terms. Several civilizations turned on one another in desperation, colliding in chaotic escape patterns. 30,000 years of order died in minutes. Because one species refused to fear death. High Executor Thalrex stared at Earth on his display screen, horrified beyond comprehension. They would destroy themselves. An officer answered weakly. They already accepted it. That was the part no species understood. Humans did not become fearless because they were fearless by nature. They became fearless because history taught them survival was never guaranteed. Every generation of humanity inherited catastrophe and kept going anyway. Aboard the Thanatos, alarm screamed while evacuation ships fled Sol. Mina Rao stood beside Ward in silence. There has to be another way. Ward looked older than ever. There usually isn't. She grabbed his arm. Billions of people will live enslaved if we fail. His voice cracked slightly for the first time. You think I want this? Athena interrupted. Enemy retreat accelerating. Probability of total assembly collapse increasing. Then, an unexpected transmission arrived. Thalrex himself. The alien leader appeared across the bridge view screen, his once imposing figure now exhausted. You would murder the galaxy. Ward met his gaze evenly. No. You declared war on a species that survived murder. Silence. The stars trembled outside. Finally, Thalrex spoke softly. We thought humanity was savage. Ward answered immediately. We are. The honesty stunned him. No denial. No excuses. Just truth. Thalrex slowly realized the Assembly's greatest mistake. They assumed civilization erased violence. Humans learned civilization merely contained it, and containment could fail. The alien lowered his head. What do you want? Behind Ward, every human officer went still. After everything, that question remained. Ward looked toward Earth one final time. Blue oceans, white clouds, the cradle of monsters and miracles alike. Then he answered, Leave. Thalrex blinked. That is all. You came to exterminate us, Ward said. We're choosing not to return the favor. The alien could barely process it. Humanity stood holding the knife to the galaxy's throat and chose restraint. Again, slowly, the Assembly fleet began withdrawing. Thousands of ships turned away from Earth. The war was over, but the peace that followed would never resemble the old one, because now the galaxy understood something fundamental. Humanity was not dangerous because they loved war. Humanity was dangerous because they could survive it. Hours later, the Thanatos drifted silently above Earth while exhausted crews watched the stars. Mina sat beside Ward on the observation deck. We won. Ward stared into the darkness. No, he said quietly. We survived. Far beyond Sol, alien civilizations would spend centuries rebuilding and remembering. They would remember the species born on a death world, the species that smiled during disasters, the species that weaponized hope, suffering, stubbornness, and rage, the species that stared down extinction and didn't even flinch